Okay, so this video is just for fun and it's only based on my observations. If my observations turn out to be wrong, you can feel free to correct me in the comments. Maybe let's start with Japan's train community. Like, Densha Aikosha. So I would say that uh, pretty much most of them are okay, but when it comes to as a community, like as a whole, unfortunately, they are like really, really competitive. Yes, definitely there's like the big names and everything, but the one sad thing is that uh it is competitive and in some way kind of toxic. And what I mean by that is that like within the Japanese train community, like the railway fans, every day without fail, I mean that's because Japan is like kind of big, like population is quite big in that sense for such a small island. uh like statistical bias and everything, uh without fail, I always manage to see like at least one fight on Twitter every single day when it comes to like railway, be it like people faking information, or like just teenagers being teenagers, or like unfortunately actual bullying cases, which is quite bad. Sometimes like these, like, I'm not talking about like just constructive criticism against one another, or like just you know banter or being theatrical, but like actual bullying and harassment cases. I've seen a lot of them, and yeah, I really feel for the victims, because it's like it how do I say it? It's like there are like bullying cases which they just pop up for no reason, and then there's another kind of like actual bullying that happens online. Especially it's because it's so competitive to the point whereby like it's kind of like a dog eat dog world. And it's just like when people see all these big YouTubers, and then they hold you to like the same kind of standard as the big YouTubers, even though you don't have like the best camera or like the film setup, or like they don't like the way you talk or something along those lines, then they would really criticize you to hell. And I mean, it's like maybe a small part of it, like is just like it's just like genuine feedback on how to improve, but most of the time it's really because they really put you to like they pit you against other YouTubers. They put you to the same kind of standards. Like, oh, if it's like 4K and then it has subtitles, oh, every single front view video must be 4K and have subtitles and have like the GPS, the speedometer, and stuff like that. It's really, really toxic. It's like trying to impose that like, oh, everybody must live up to this kind of like textbook standard that is set by like a few toxic individuals within the community. And that's the reason why the Japanese train industry, it's very toxic. Sorry, I mean like not the industry, but like the community, or the train YouTube industry. What I was trying to say is like really, really toxic in the sense that like because of the competition. And not only that, the market when it comes to Japanese trained YouTubers, it's really, really saturated. The content is like kind of repeated, and it's hard to get like unique content because it's over filmed, over saturated. I mean, you name it. And that's the reason why I tell people, if they want to like actually flourish as YouTubers, you can dive into like other vehicles, maybe ships or trucks, or like even buses instead, because there aren't like enough bus filmers in Japan as of this point in time, because it's just not as popular as like the train. Because it's like train fans don't need to know about the bus, but the bus fans need to know about the train, because it's very hub spoke there. And for the most part, even though there are some long distance trunk bus services as well, it's just that like whoever is a bus fan, they need to know about the train to get to their destination so that they can like film the buses in the first place. Because again, there are not that many long distance trunk bus routes or even expressway bus routes that only run during a certain period of time. It's not like 24/7 the buses run or something. The operation hours are like quite limited in that sense. And that's the reason why I'm like, if you wanna flourish, like I've said before, don't do trains. You do trains, it's very, very hard to compete. And the only real way to compete is to upload raw content, which is kind of like, I don't know why, it's like frowned upon by the community, like some people, like the toxic individuals, because they say stuff like, oh, you have to have subtitles on like your front view videos no matter what, which is completely unreasonable on their part. People just film for fun. I mean, yeah, so it's like if you upload raw content and you beat them by uploading first, you would siphon all the views to yourself. And that's the only way that you can ever compete with like the big names. You siphon the views before they get siphoned by the bigger YouTubers, like the train front view YouTubers. There's like a lot of them, and it's like really saturated market out there. But for in Japan for buses, if you upload a front view of a route that nobody has uploaded before, it will definitely get views. Unless it's like the bus company or the route isn't like that famous, then okay, maybe it wouldn't get views in the near future, but like in the future it might just grow exponentially. This kind of happens with all like the Ibaraki bus routes because like just an example, because that area is like kind of underfilmed in a way, and it's only like the big names which who have like 5-digit subscribers, they tend to like film the longer routes because it's just more interesting than like the shorter routes, which is completely understandable. So that's why if you do buses in Japan, it is much easier for you to grow as like a content creator. Even if you just do front views, it's completely fine. You don't have to like do all the narration or like explanation videos if you are not comfortable or you don't really know how to like do them. Yeah, narration videos. Or like even those fun challenges. It's not easy to come up with content nowadays when it comes to like, be it bus or train, I would say for Japan. But I would say like most of the Japanese bus community is like actually kind of chill. They are not as like, hot-headed as like the train community. The train, that's why I say the train side is like kind of toxic. Okay, then as for Hong Kong, this is just based on my own observations. Yes, the people, they are like quite, how to say, it's like they are quite unfiltered, but they're chill at the same time. They are not the kind, be it bus or train side, they're not the kind that will like hold you to like such a high standard or anything. Just like in the case of Singapore or Japan, they're just kind of chill. They just film whatever they want. Yeah, I know maybe online or in real life some fights might break out because they're like passionate about buses, or even some people might be toxic, as I've mentioned before. But like the general vibe that I get from Hong Kong is that they are more chill as compared to like Singapore or Japan. It's like they just film buses. Doesn't necessarily have to be like how to say, you have to do it a certain way, you have to do it a certain way. No. For Hong Kong, yes, there are some people who film the interior joyride. Some people, but most of them, they just film front views. And they film on different buses as well. They want to highlight the front view. It's like, in general, I would say the Hong Kong bus fans, because they have a lot of double decker buses, they like their front views a lot. And unlike Singapore, they don't really convert a lot of their front views to like hyperlapses or anything. And even if it rains, okay, because it's like when it comes to Singapore, when it rains, people, they just start complaining that it's like ruining their front view or hyperlapse. Not me, but I've seen it from other people. But Hong Kong, they really don't care. It's like as long as I have a video, like a full trip video, doesn't necessarily have to be full trip, but most of the videos I've seen online are like full trip, 1 hour, 2 hour, or even 3 hour plus. I think 1 or 2 hours plus. As long as I get a front view video of the full trip, I'm like happy enough and I'm content enough. That's the kind of vibe that I get from like Hong Kong bus or train fans in general. They're just a lot more carefree, and chill, which is something that I really, really admire about them. Now let's move on to Singapore, and this is coming from somebody who has like grown up in Singapore and lived in Singapore before, but I'm technically an outsider because I'm from Japan. So anyway, this is just like my own perception. So feel free to like disagree with me, because I feel that like Singapore bus content creators especially, they really focus a lot on like, it's like, okay, there is this like one unspoken social so-called rule, I don't know, it's like an unspoken kind of like I don't know, societal pressure or like social rule that like you have to as much as possible bite size your content, because I rarely see content that's like, I don't know if this is influenced by Maxon in any way, but like their videos rarely exceed like 15 or like 10 minutes, and this is for like, let's say there's a change like new bus interchange, or like a bus interchange, an old one that's gonna be replaced very soon, something along those lines. It's like, even for those, yes, there are people who do walkthroughs, there are people who just film buses and then they compile them, but a lot of times I see them like converting them into like music videos. Like let's say first day of operations introduction, and then they just put music, and then they film like the departure scenes or something along those lines. But those music videos, I would say it's kind of like classified under like bite-sized content in general. And the thing is, even for like joyride videos, okay, joyride refers to like you sit at the back of the bus or the middle of the bus and then you just film the interior ride. And because you're only pointing at like the interior ride plus maybe a bit of like the window view a little bit, because for Maxon it's like half interior, half like the window view, whereas other YouTubers they might do it a little differently depending on how much window and how much interior they do, because you're only pointing at the bus, right? And it's more focused on like Soko on, which is like the and not engine sound, but like the bus transmission sounds. They usually tend to like cut out all the idle parts, or like they just pick out all the best parts where like there's a best engine or like transmission sound, and then they just stitch it up to form a video. It's like they pick out the best parts and then make it into a video, and they don't usually film like the entire ride unless it's like, let's say, the last day of operations or something along those lines. This is the kind of like trend that I see with a lot of these joyride videos as well. Even if you sit at like the front seat, the front left seat, or even the front right seat, but mostly front left seat, I do notice that a lot of, even for me sometimes, but like I mostly do like almost full ride videos. I tend to record longer, but like for most other YouTubers in Singapore, they tend to like record only like less than 15 minutes or like less than 10 minutes. And this is kind of like what bite sizing has done to like the Singapore bus community in general. It's like they don't want their videos to be like too long or anything. This is also applicable to the train side, because the train side, as I've said, it's quite content there is quite saturated, and they're only like featuring several sectors along the railway line, several parts of it whereby the electric motor sounds are like the best, cause it's like downhill, uphill, crossover sounds or whatever. That's the reason why they prefer to like bite size their content instead, cause of the it's like as a response to oversaturatedness, they bite size their content for like the train side. But even for the bus side, I see a lot of people like bite sizing their content. It can be good or bad depending on like how you see it. And you also know that like for the front view videos, I noticed that like a lot of people in Singapore, they what they do what how they bite size it is that they convert it to hyperlapses. They don't really like uploading the 1 hour or like 2 hour bus videos, which is understandable. It's just that like nowadays what I whenever I see it, it's really just hyperlapses duplicated all over the place. I've only seen like a few YouTubers like from 2016, 2017, before hyperlapses got like popular. They would actually film the full trip on the front left seat. And technically when that person doesn't really do YouTube videos anymore, now technically I'm the one that's like continuing the trend. Because unlike Hong Kong or Japan, where they have a tendency to like film everything, in Singapore it's like if it's like something special that's worth filming. Or sometimes they film perms as well, but usually only if it's something special then they would like actually put it on their YouTube. So yeah, it's like you can tell that like they really focus a lot on like quality control of their videos and fresh content. But said fresh content is like you have to get like the rare stuff and then you schedule upload or something along those lines. It's like a lot of emphasis on like quality control and not just like videos in general. Because what I mean is that like there can be like a video and then there can be like let's say the bus over here and then there is like let's say the bus service number and then there's like text here, sometimes there's like slanted text or something along those lines, and then maybe like joyride video or something along those lines. This is kind of like the typical pattern that I see from like Singapore bus enthusiasts. Most of them they focus on cameos or sometimes they record perms, maybe buses that are about to like deregister and something along those lines. However, when it comes to like the Singapore public transport scene in general, I do see like doing public transport YouTube in Singapore as being like unsustainable. That's the reason why Maxon left. It's like the reason why is because it's getting it unlike UK, which at least they preserve their buses or like their trains in some context. Even US preserves like their old trains and then they do historical runs or something. And then UK has like that Harry Potter train or something. And then Japan has that like those steam or coal locomotives and stuff like that. But Singapore is like once it's used, they just throw it aside and then they don't even want to keep it as memory or something along those lines. I don't know. Maxon has done a video on that, so you can go watch it. So I do foresee that the public transport industry, be it bus or train, is gonna like die off within the next like 5 to 10 years in like Singapore, because it's like the only time where you get interesting content is probably like new MRT station opening or new MRT line opening, or maybe just new bus rides or new bus interchanges in general, and that's all. The hyperlapsers are the only group that I foresee will survive, and it's only the top hyperlapsers and not like just any random hyperlapser out there because of like consistency. How to say, it's like they are the ones who get the most views because I've been told that like other people like them because their format is like clean, neat, and they're consistent as well. They stay true to what their own channel is. They stay true to what they want their YouTube channel to be about. It's not like me whereby I just upload whatever the hell I want, but these people, they're like the hyperlapsers especially, they're like really consistent in like what they do. So I think that's a good thing. And yes, that's the reason why I'm like when the bus models, everything, they get boring, only the hyperlapsers or like front view route filmers, they would survive and everybody else would just hit a glass ceiling or just die off completely. And that's the same for the train side, because even JRL I mean, when Changi Airport line becomes Thomson East Coast line, it's just a short sector of like front view and that's pretty much it. And JRL, it's gonna be like noise barriers everywhere, so it's not even like you're not even able to properly enjoy the scenery outside of like set noise barriers, which above ground noise barriers which look like tunnels instead. So yeah, that's the one downside of that, because of they don't want noise pollution. So it's a kind of trade-off that you have to make. So it's like the same thing. It's like only when there's new stuff, like for the train side, then there will be content. And it's like I foresee both bus and train side in Singapore it's gonna slowly die off. Japan, there's like a lot of fresh content, unexplored content, and in Hong Kong it's like you can technically say because a lot of people in Hong Kong, be it bus or train side, are quite passionate. They film a lot, but it's like because they don't really care about like standards, like as in like they don't care if like their video is like top notch or anything. They just want to put out videos, and that's the reason why even if stuff does get boring in Hong Kong, the YouTubers there, they wouldn't really like die off or anything because there is still like enough audience to be able to sustain them. Not in the case of Singapore, I have to say. Because what I noticed for the Singapore side is that it's not, even Japan isn't as OCD. It's like the Singapore side, the bus enthusiasts for some reason are really, really OCD. It's like you have to mention, like at all costs, you have to mention the current route of the bus service or the current operator of the bus service. Even though my own videos are like mostly historic, the historical aspect of it, that's why I don't really need to mention. It's like they demand you to like, or they try to like make you say out the current operator or the current route at all costs. And the one observation I really have to make up that I get from like Singapore bus enthusiasts is that yeah, like as I've explained before, it's just I've observed that I mean, I have OCD, like actual clinical diagnosis, but I've seen a lot of these people, be it kids or adults, they are young adults, they tend to be like very, very OCD about stuff. It's like their videos have to be like perfect or anything. It's like they're hyperlapses, they cannot have rain, they have to bite size out their content, they have to like their joyride videos, they have to bite size, they have to pick out only the best parts. Everything has to be like picture perfect, convert into music video, or like uh I don't know how to say, it's like any joyride or any front view or any hyperlapse video or any music video or any video documenting the changes, be it a walkthrough or like challenges or like just documenting the changes in general. It's like I get the feeling that they emphasize a lot on perfection, and they do way more editing as compared to like the Japan bus fans or like Hong Kong bus fans. Hong Kong is like mostly raw content. Same for Japan. Japan's train is like heavily edited for the most part, but the bus side is still mostly raw content. Same for Hong Kong bus fans. Singapore ones, it's like I've seen a tendency for YouTubers to edit their content more than as compared to like Japan or Hong Kong. And this is just my observations. And for Japan or Hong Kong, Japan, the only thing is there isn't like a lot of bus fans, but the bus fans, they are more of the kind that's like they want to document as much as possible. To a lesser extent as compared to Hong Kong, because Hong Kong bus fans on average are more passionate than Japanese bus fans in general, and this is just like observations from me. Whereas Singapore, they only document anything when it's like is special enough or like rare enough to them, and if it's like just perm or like usual stuff, they generally don't document, be it from like filming inside the bus or outside the bus, be it joyride or front view or hyperlapse or anything. That's kind of the trend that I see anyway. Because if you realized, whereas like the top hyperlapser channels in YouTube channels in Singapore, like the Singapore bus route hyperlapsers, uh, okay, like when it comes to the train side, there aren't really a lot of like big names. But the bus side, even the big names like for the hyperlapser side, the joyride side, there aren't really a lot of big names except Maxon and maybe a few others as well. But like the bus side, when it comes to hyperlapsers, they are like actually the epitome of consistency. They really do everything like very neat and consistent, which is unlike me. I just like film whatever and I just post whatever I want. And basically, I'm like pretty inconsistent, even for like the bus route recreations. Sometimes it gets too difficult. I just give up on the model consistency, and I just upload whatever I want. Like I'm just like very, very inconsistent, as you all know. But I'd rather be inconsistent and push out content rather than be so OCD to the point whereby I don't push out content because oh, I want every nook and cranny of the route to be like recreatable. That kind of. I'm not like to that extent of OCD, even though I suffer from OCD myself. But yeah, maybe you can say my OCD has pushed me to film like all of the Soonly, OC, or Man routes. Except yesterday I was like kind of skill issue. I missed the 179A. I'm really sorry about that. Yeah. I wish I could do better sometimes, or I could have caught like the Volvo B5LH or like 273. Yeah, I wish I was better sometimes. Honestly, yeah. And then it's like because my own like content style is like raw, completely unedited, except for certain instances. I would say 97 to 98%, 96 to 98% of my videos are unedited. There's only a few that are like edited or stuff like that. Unlike most of the other bus YouTubers here, I do a lot of raw content, and for the front view videos or even joyride videos, occasional ones, I do mostly front view. I tend to like just give them the full video, whatever I recorded. It's like most Singapore bus YouTubers, they would only pick out the best parts and then bite-size their content, but I'm literally the only one besides like I think another YouTuber. I'm only the other. I'm currently I think the only one that just uploads 1 hour or 2 hour content and just I just completely disregard the need to bite-size content in Singapore. Not because like oh I want to go against the flow, but it's just like I feel it's more meaningful to just give you the full ride unedited because it looks more real in that sense. Like you feel like you're actually taking the bus. You feel like when you watch the videos you're actually like riding the bus on the front seat. That kind of thing. And yeah, because you could also say my filming style, like for my raw videos, it's like a lot closer to Hong Kong and Japanese bus fans when it comes to like the front view YouTubers. And then as for my what I call shagai fuke, which is like the outside filming, where I film the exterior of buses. I would say Maxon actually does it way better than me because his camcorder, his like digital camera is like his video recorder is the I mean the thing that he uses. I'm not good with technology. The thing that he uses to record his videos, it's way more professional than me. The zoom settings on his devices are like way better than mine because if I go past like 1.9 times zoom, my quality just poops out. Except except in some cases, but like yeah, he does it way better than me. I'm like not that good when it comes to like outside filming. But you can say that for inside filming, maybe I'm just more how to say resilient when it comes to like holding the camera there for like 1 hour or like 40 minutes, stuff like that. So yeah, I think the main difference, as I've said before, is that I just upload whatever I want, long or short. And then I don't care if the video is like 1 or 2 hours long, I just upload it anyway, raw. But then a lot of other Singapore bus YouTubers, as I mentioned before many times, they really focus more on like the bite size content and like they quality control like way lot more than me in comparison. Cause the bus side, they would pretty much die off once the Mandis retire. The train side for Singapore, it would probably die off once the C151 KHI Kawasaki Nippon Shario when they retire, I would say. So yeah, the reason why I am stating my observations to you is that when I looked at the way Singapore bus fans do things, I was like kind of surprised as well that they like really their content is like really short and it's more edited as well. So yeah, that's just one observation that I have to make. So yeah, it's not a serious video, but these are just like my observations. And yeah, the last thing I want to say is please don't copy like whatever the Japanese railway enthusiasts, the toxic ones are doing, cause it is it's meant to be a hobby. Some people eventually turn it into a career, but like it's really unhealthy if you like keep this level of like overly stiff competition around. It's not because of like oversaturation, it's just that like it kind of like really mentally drains out people if you do it to the extent of like Japanese train fans. So that is one thing that I hope that like in future the Japanese train enthusiasts would be more mindful about in that sense. Okay, maybe one last thing. In Hong Kong, enthusiasts, they tend to be more chill. In Singapore and Japan, they're like bus titles, or like especially their descriptions, they tend to be like more like Maxon is neutral, but like a lot of them when they do their descriptions, they tend to be like more serious and thorough about it. But for me, I just don't really care. I just put some hashtags and like I call it a day, and that's pretty much about it. When it comes to clickbait though, Japanese trained YouTubers, especially the ones who do kaisetsu doga, which means like the ones who explain, they unfortunately have to clickbait because that's kind of the nature of their videos. They clickbait more than even the Singapore bus YouTubers. But Singapore bus YouTubers, I have seen their tendencies to clickbait a lot, especially when they put a lot of exclamation marks and then they just say debut, first day, introduction, or whatever. It's like they use a lot of like the clickbait terms. But the clickbait aside, they tend to be like more serious when it comes to like their video titles or like their descriptions in general. Japan is more of like the bus side, except a few YouTubers that I see really clickbait to hell. Their titles, they don't really clickbait a lot. It's more, and the descriptions is more of like either neutral or like serious. They're like describing the route because there are not many bus fans in Japan, and that's why they feel the need to like describe a little bit more about like the route itself, like its purpose, where it passes, or the route history in general. They would put it all in the description. So yeah, that's basically how I would say Singapore and Japan, when it comes to like being so-called serious, uh, I would say Singapore is like clickbait and serious. Japan is more of like neutral, serious when it comes to the bus side, except the few that actually clickbait to hell. And then Hong Kong is like on a spectrum of like serious, neutral, or chill. But here's the thing, I wouldn't say it's clickbait, but like because this is more so for I think the Chinese languages or like Cantonese language in general, or like their dialects. I think Cantonese in general is you're like able to cram more things, more meaning in a sentence as compared to like Japanese, because Japanese is very grammar based. English is like you're limited by the characters. Japanese is like because there's grammar that you have to follow. Hong Kong is like more free and easy. Even though Japan, their grammar has shortcuts as well when it comes to videos. Not like proper Japanese, but like shortcuts in terms of videos. Hong Kong, their video titles, they tend to be more chill or more fun or like more, they tend to have more meaning or like description inside their videos. It's like, let's say, oh, this bus ride is very fun or something along the like really nice views. They, for Cantonese, they are able to cram in way more meaning and like more characters. That's the reason why Hong Kong tends to be like more free and easy. And for Japan, it's more about like keywords actually. Then Singapore is like how well you clickbait, and I have to say. But when it comes to seriousness, as I've mentioned, it's about like this order. Singapore's more serious than Japan when it comes to buses, and Japan's like more serious, more editing, more thorough, more consistent than Japan. Japan's slightly more serious than Hong Kong, I would say in general for the bus side. The train side, I don't think it's right for me to comment because I'm not really a train enthusiast. But for the bus side, these are my general observations. So yeah, I think that's pretty much about it.